Hi, I'm Leah Todd, and you're listening to None of Us Are Normal. You can't see me right now because this is a podcast, but if you could, you'd see me putting emphatic air quotes around the word normal. Honestly, what does it mean to be normal anyway? Who decides what is or isn't normal for each of us? And why do we all so desperately want to be normal? If you don't know me yet, I'm a Canadian country artist living in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a wife, a frequenter of my sunroom, a dog mom of two, and as of recently, a podcast host. In my experience as all of these things, I've decided that none of us are normal and that normal is something completely made up that puts limitations around our feelings and experiences. But here's something that's not made up. We all struggle. We all experience sadness sometimes, whether momentary or all-encompassing. We all deserve joy in our lives. No, none of us are air quotes normal, but we're all very, very real. Join me in real conversations with real people who I know and love to discuss mental health, music, and what it means to make the most out of life. These conversations will be equal parts tough and fun. As in anything in life, there are two sides to every coin. I'm happy that you're here, and I hope you enjoy this episode of None of Us Are Normal. This podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. It is in no way medical advice. For 24/7 free and confidential support, referral, and treatment options and guidance, please call the National Suicide and Crisis Prevention Hotline at 988. If this is an emergency and you are in an immediate danger to yourself or others, please push pause on this episode and immediately call 911. Hey friends, I am so excited and honored to have my very own sister today as a guest. My sister is a psychologist and she is a wonderful person, and I cannot wait for you guys to hear what she has to say about grief, dealing with grief around the holidays, how to get through the holidays, how to find a therapist, and all things about therapy. I'm really excited for you guys to get into this episode, and please stick around for the end for the pick-me-up because it is so awesome. Okay, well, one of the things that I wanted to get into with you is getting through holidays and anniversaries and birthdays and all those things in terms of grief. So we are recording this and it's in November. It's actually right before the American Thanksgiving. It's on Remembrance Day in Canada. Now, this will be relevant to anybody at any time because there's always going to be anniversaries and birthdays and all those things come up. What are some things that you would suggest to people to help get through a holiday without their loved one?
It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to get through the holiday when you are really grieving the loss of somebody that you love. Um, and holidays or anniversaries are particularly difficult because we aren't, only grieving the loss, right? Like all of the memories that and all of the times that we shared with that person, but it's sort of a time to reflect, or it becomes a time to reflect on lost time together. So here is another Christmas, and it's without this person. And so sort of grieving the loss of future events or future moments with that person. And so it's not an easy thing to do, but I think if we sort of go back to what we were talking about really early on, the difference between pain and suffering, right? So grief is an inevitable experience in life that causes pain. And how can we manage our pain in a way that's not going to lead to suffering? And so I think one of the biggest things that I talk about with my clients when we're discussing issues around grief and loss and holidays, it's about creating quiet moments in and around that anniversary or that holiday to honor the person that they've lost. And that might look really different, um, for different people. So for some people, it might be a specific ritual that they engage in. So for someone who might have lost a parent, maybe what they do around that day or that significant date is cook a meal that their parent used to cook and really sit down and connect with, all of the memories that that meal brings up and sort of bring that person with them into the present moment. But for others, it might not be so outward. It might sort of be a quiet moment where they turn inward and they reflect on, the characteristics or the qualities of that person that they really admired. And then maybe asking themselves, how can I really embody those qualities today to help me get through this day? How can I sort of borrow a piece of that person that I've lost that I cared about so much and sort of borrow that piece and use that to get me through this day? So, my dad was, such a funny such a funny guy, and he, what I really admired about him was his humor. And so I'm going to go through today and try to find the humor as best as I can. And in that way, I'm honoring him and I feel close to him, by doing so.
I love that you say that because I lost a friend during COVID, and on her birthday, I always go out and I get a watermelon because that was her favorite food, and I just have a piece of watermelon, and I don't, I haven't shared that with really
Mhm.
anybody, her family, you know, but it's nice. It's like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna have a moment, and that's gonna be my moment.
Yeah. Also to accept and even to invite whatever emotion comes up around that, right? To just know that, okay, this is a hard day for me because I'm grieving the loss of this person and I miss them so much. And I'm going to have a slice of watermelon just to be able to remember them and feel close to them. And if I well up and I become tearful, that I'm going to embrace that because that emotion really is just part of the expression of love that I have for that person, right? So, if I'm enjoying this dish and I start to cry, it's really my expression of love, and allowing that to have space and to move through you and to move out of you as well, right? Through tears or through laughter, whatever it is that comes up, all of that is okay. All of that is okay and it's normal. Um, and I think that